A very sickly and scared Donald Trump just got flipped off as he is leaving the White House to go golfing yet again on the taxpayers' dime at his Virginia golf club. The press pool reported that multiple people were giving Donald Trump the middle finger, talking about fingers. Look at what Donald Trump's hand looks like these days. This is a cover-up as obvious as the Epstein files. Donald Trump is having major discoloration. Many believe it is due to serious heart problems. As Decoding Fox News says, I used to cover tattoos when I worked as a body painter for Webster Hall. One of the challenges of covering up that bruise is the color of his hands. They're quite red and uneven. Regardless, this is a terrible makeup job. They are just slapping heavy concealer on it. Everything with this Trump regime is smoke and mirrors, cover up, and wannabe fascism. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is desperate. He is bombarding his supporters with emails like this. I subscribe to his email list so you don't have to. These are real emails that he's just been sending. Ben, do you hate it when I ask you for money? I get it, and I'm sorry, but sometimes I just don't have another option. Right now, I desperately need your help. My mid-month deadline is just hours away, and I'm still short on a few critical grassroots donations from your state. Will you lend me a hand? $5 for MAGA, please. While Americans are suffering, while people can't afford groceries, while Donald Trump is destroying the economy, while Americans can't afford homes, and Donald Trump is golfing on the taxpayer dime, he's out there literally begging people for money. What about this, though, Donald? Trust in Trump. That's the post that you just made on Instagram this morning. You wrote, tariffs will reduce the deficit by $4 trillion. Donald, you are the biggest additive to our deficit. You threw on close to what? 25 to 30% of all of our debt during the first term, and you're just going to skyrocket our debt with the disastrous budget bill. You're not tricking anyone. That's what you're posting this morning while you're begging for money. Here's what people are saying on Trump's Instagram. I was always taught in math class to show your work. I'd love to see the mathematics used to calculate this pitiful lie. Someone else wrote, your big, beautiful bill is projected to add $3.4 trillion to the national debt and over $4 trillion when we account for interest. Stop lying. So when are you guys going to ban child marriage? Why are my PlayStation 5 prices going up? Yeah, you know that money, Donald? It's being charged to us. Consumers pay the tariffs. It's literally a tax on people. So while you're giving your billionaire friends massive tax cuts, we the people are paying tariffs in the form of importers being taxed and it being passed on to consumers. Someone else writes, Trump's own wives couldn't even trust him. Why the hell would anybody else trust him? $12 trillion of the national debt thus far has been caused by you. And Donald Trump keeps on posting these things this morning, thinking that if he does these photos of himself, and really gross photos of himself, that this is going to be a way to persuade people that his tariffs against the world are working. Donald Trump goes, look, everybody, deficits are down, taxes are down, prices are going down. I've defeated inflation. He's really posting today that he's defeated inflation. Well, the people aren't buying it, Donald, because when we don't have taxpayers paying for our golf trips every weekend or paying for our resorts in Scotland, when we don't have that and we go to the grocery stores, we see the prices going up, you idiot. So, for example, people are saying, I like this person goes, y'all thought that was a good picture to use? What fantasy world are you living in? Everything I spend money on is more expensive. Gas, food, time, everything. Someone else goes, my electric bill is up. My grocery bill is up. None of what you're saying is true. Could someone tell my local grocery stores, department stores, gas stations, and literally everything I pay for that Trump says that price is down? That would be nice. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then Trump posts an eagle and says, woke is dead. Woke is dead. These people are the biggest morons in the world. Can you just help people get health care, please? Can you just help people get education? Can you just help people get homes? For people who work a job, do they not have to work multiple jobs just to barely get by and live paycheck to paycheck and suffer the psychological torture of enduring that? Can we just have jobs with dignity? Well, no, Donald, your catchphrase is "you're fired," and your whole thing is getting rid of everybody and destroying everybody other than the oligarchs. And people are just so pissed at this. Facts aren't woke. Slavery was an atrocity, and America owes the descendants of slavery. End of story. Exclamation point, as Donald Trump wants to get rid of the Smithsonian. They've identified all of the exhibits on slavery and Chicano studies and anything dealing with migrants, and just getting rid of all of that. But they're going to bring back golden Confederate statutes, because we can't erase the history of the Confederates. We have to celebrate them with golden statutes. But we should erase the history of slavery and not even acknowledge that it was bad. That's literally what Donald Trump posted. Why are we focused so much on the fact that slavery is bad? Meanwhile, you have Donald Trump influencers going on TV this morning and saying things like this: Donald Trump and J.D. Vance should put out a statement asking 100,000 supporters to move to Washington, D.C. this year. That's just 2,000 people from each state, and it would completely change the D.C. jury pool. As our editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski writes, great idea. Move to D.C. so you can serve on Trump DOJ juries. It was also announced in the past 24 hours that an additional 1,700 National Guard troops are set to deploy across at least 19 different states over the coming weeks to help Trump execute a, quote, sweeping federal crime and immigration crackdown. Because states' rights. Am I right? Remember when these MAGA Republicans were like, oh, Obama or Biden's going to take the troops and send them into your states? Trump is literally doing that, and he's specifically targeting Democratic cities and Democratic states when we all know, it's an undisputed fact, that the highest crime is in red states and red cities. But you go and ask Donald Trump and MAGA, they go, oh, all of that data, that's fake data. Just like all the fake economic data that shows that people are becoming unemployed at a higher rate than in recent history, and all that fake economic data showing that the GDP is crashing, all that fake data that's showing that we're going through stagflation and that we, the people, really feel this pain. But according to Trump, all of that's fake. He's the holder of all of the secret numbers because, Donald Trump, who's been literally found criminally liable for fraud, Donald Trump, who's been found civilly liable for fraud, Donald Trump, who's lied about mostly everything his entire life, he's the one who has all of the secret numbers. We don't get to see that. In fact, if you give accurate numbers and Trump doesn't believe they're right, you get fired. If you give Donald Trump true intelligence assessments about what's going on, say, with the strikes in Iran and that Iran has enriched uranium, you get fired. You get fired for giving him accurate information. A key factor to always remember about totalitarian states is that they always get rid of the competent people because they need bootlickers at all times, and that's specifically what Trump is looking for here. So you take a look at this massive military purge that is underway right now, and let's take a look at it as we see it. Officials confirm that Lieutenant General Cruz, the head of the Pentagon's intelligence agency, has been removed. Why? Because he provided the Trump regime with intelligence that the Iranian nuclear facilities were not destroyed, which they are not destroyed. Iran can still enrich uranium. Trump's basically removed the sanctions from Iran. Iran sending its Shahid drones over to Russia, which is using it in massive amounts against Ukraine, killing far more innocent Ukrainians than ever before in the war. Donald Trump's made things exponentially worse since he met with Putin 2 Fridays ago. But maybe that was the plan the whole time. Do a performative strike on Iran, give cover to Benjamin Netanyahu to continue atrocities in Gaza, allow Iran to have sanctions removed so that Iran can send more Shahid drones to Russia, allow Iran to have to send more oil now to China as a result of removing the sanctions, which in turn allows Iran to build more drones to send to Russia, create a more unstable world, and that is a perfect way to help weaken NATO, help weaken Ukraine, and help weaken the United States. Do you all remember when Donald Trump said that Putin offered to mediate the dispute with Iran? Do you remember that Trump said he spoke to Putin about that? When you start putting the factors together here, doesn't it start to make a little more sense, baby, what happened? What happened on that call when Putin mediated with Donald Trump before the strikes on Iran? Because it seems that it would help Netanyahu to get his criminal prosecutions pushed back. Seems like it would help Putin. Seems like it would hurt the United States and our NATO. You want me to pull the receipts on that? Because I've got receipts on that. Let me show that to you right now. Hold on one second. Here it goes right here. Let me play it for you.
Ukraine is so stupid. Would have never happened if I was president. You guys agree with that, right? Would have never happened if I was president. Putin would have never done it. And I spoke to him yesterday, and I said, he actually offered to help mediate. I said, do me a favor. Mediate your own. Let's mediate Russia first, okay? I said, Vladimir, let's mediate Russia first. You can worry about this later. But I think that's going to work out, too. But it's so many people have been killed. The big thing with that one is far more people are dead than have been reported in the Ukraine, Russia. Many, many more people. A building falls down. They say nobody was hurt. So ridiculous.
And by the way, the purge on these military officials is not just Lieutenant General Cruz. Hegseth has also fired the chief of the U.S. Naval Reserves and the commander of the Naval Special Warfare Command. They've been fired as well. But just take a look at what's happened in Ukraine in the past 48 hours. Just think about that. In Western Ukraine, you have an American factory, Flex, in Mukachevo in the Zaporizhia region, Oblast, being destroyed. Does Donald Trump say anything about the fact that an American factory was just destroyed by Russian ballistic missiles? Pretty big deal. Most American presidents would say that's pretty screwed up. No, not Donald Trump. What does he do? He holds a picture of Putin in the Oval Office yesterday that Putin sent of Donald Trump and Putin in Alaska together. And Trump tells the head of FIFA that maybe Putin and Trump will give an autograph when Putin shows up for FIFA. And here's what's happening in Ukraine right now. Kyiv Post, Russians just attacked and destroyed a residential building in Donetsk's region. Flames engulf the entire structure. Civilians are trapped inside. The number of victims still unknown. Rescue efforts are still underway. So I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this, right? Trump said there was going to be a ceasefire, or if there wasn't a ceasefire, there'd be serious sanctions against Putin. Well, no ceasefire. Donald Trump said that Putin would agree to a trilateral meeting with Putin, Zelensky, and Trump. Well, that didn't happen. Donald Trump said that Putin was agreeable for Article 5-like NATO guarantees in Ukraine, and allowing a European force or a peacekeeping force to get in there. Oh, well, that didn't happen. But why? The corporate media told us that all of these things were going to happen. So what happened there? Oh, here was Donald Trump bragging about himself and Putin being together like they're dating. He talks about Putin like the honeymoon phase of like when you date somebody for the first time. That's how he talks about this meeting with Putin. And have you seen this photo of me? Have you seen this photo of me and Vladdy? Have you seen this photo of me and Vladdy? Have you seen it? I mean, watch him. This is so humiliating for our country. Here, play this clip.
Testifying for that, absolutely. Thank you.
And I just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay? Mr. President, yes.
Then I'll show you this, give you this final update on Abrego Garcia right now. The Trump regime knows that its prosecution against Abrego, like utterly phony and contrived. So Abrego's been allowed to be released by the federal judge in Maryland. Remember, he was sent to the concentration camp in El Salvador, then to Tennessee, where he was being prosecuted, and then he's been released on bond, basically, or just been released pending the criminal trial. And so here's the letter from the Trump regime, from the Office of the Principal Legal Advisor. Pursuant to the order issued by the District Court of Maryland, please let Abrego Garcia know, your client, that he may be sent to Uganda no earlier than 72 hours, absent weekends. They're going to send him to Uganda now. They're going to send him to Uganda. That's what they're doing. I mean, it would be parody if it wasn't so freaking dangerous, this Trump regime. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Donald Trump golfing this weekend, sending those grifty emails. We'll keep you posted. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thank you for watching.
New Meidas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.meidastouch.com.